Hey, y'all, if there is one thing I cannot stand, it is tossing and turning at night because I'm hot and I'm uncomfortable. But all that ended when I was introduced to Cozy Earth. Crafted from 100% bamboo, these sheets are not only incredibly soft, but also they're breathable, they're moisture wicking, and they keep me cool and comfortable all night long. I literally sink into the bed and feel like I am sleeping on a cloud. They have everything from sheet sets to complete bedding bundles to comforters, everything you're going to need to get a night's sleep. And the brand has been featured on Good Morning America, In Style, Better Homes and Gardens. And guess what? They don't stop with bedding either. They got pajamas for both men and women. And I am telling you, they are the most comfortable pajama sets I have ever worn. They have bath towels, robes, tops, hoodies. If you wear it, sleep on it, or dry off with it, they got it. With free shipping on orders over $50, a 100-night sleep trial, and a 10-year warranty, Cozy Earth will bring you what it brought me: a good night's sleep and a whole lot of comfort. Exposed Podcast has partnered with Cozy Earth to offer my listeners 41% off by using the code EXPOSED at checkout. That's 41% off by going to CozyEarth.com and using the code EXPOSED at checkout. Sleep better, live better. Choose Cozy Earth. Sweet dreams await.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Welcome back, folks, and what a week in the world of crime news. Let's cover just some of the topics. In New Mexico, a man kills 2 O'Reilly Auto Parts employees over an incorrect oil filter. In Florida, a son intentionally traps his mom in a power recliner. In Louisiana, a man is sentenced after he killed a woman and drove around with that body for 30 days. Also in Louisiana, a 10-year-old escapes abduction. In New Orleans. In South Carolina, a teaching assistant gets arrested after multiple instances of spraying I guess you could call it a foul spray at school, and we'll get into that. In New Jersey, actor Gary Busey is sentenced following a groping incident. We got these stories and so much more headed your way today on Crime Wire Weekly. I'm Jim Chapman.
And I am still Kelly Jennings.
You are still Kelly Jennings. Yes, you are. And before we get into it, you had a little crime of your own happen over the past week, courtesy of the Gulf of America.
Yeah. Shout out to the saltwater air and all of that down in Grand Isle, because we sold our camper and we unsold our camper, or desold it. I don't know what the word would be, in a matter of about 1 hour.
Wow.
Yeah. So
how did that happen?
We sold our boat. Okay, let's start there. My husband and I decided it's just, we got other things we want to do. So we sold our boat. We had a big World Cat, and we towed it home brought it home to sell, and the axle on the boat broke. And so I had to go pick my husband up, and it was this whole ordeal, right? And we're like, God, it couldn't get any worse. Well, never say that, guys, because then we went back down because we sold the camper.
Right.
And we went to Grand Isle. We got the camper. Man bought it. Blake hooks it up, goes to take it to the man, and both axles on our camper snap, and our camper.
At the same time?
Yes, sir. and it flipped
Damn.
on its side.
While it was attached to the vehicle?
Yes.
While you're going down the road?
Absolutely.
Thank God no one was on the side of you.
I know. But we now have a camper still for sale if you want one on its side. And you want to know?
Discount? You get a discount?
Yeah, you know how much the towing bill is alone? Just the towing bill.
That'd be interesting. What?
Almost $3,000.
Oh my gosh.
And don't anybody call bullshit on me because I got the receipts.
That's crazy.
Wild.
So, the world keeps on turning for Kelly Jennings. Never a dull moment.
Never.
It seems like in your life.
Yeah.
And you had already sold this camper. So
Yeah.
you were just on the way to deliver it. You were going to exchange money and be done with it.
Yeah. We had to.
Both axles broke.
We had to pull
Holy
it
smokes.
less than a mile.
Unbelievable.
Hey, we can post a picture on Crime Wire Weekly for him.
There you go.
Give you a smile.
Kelly will show you a picture. It's pretty crazy. All right, let's get into the world of crime for today. And we're going to start off in Florida, Kelly. And I'm going to tell you about a son who allegedly murdered his mother after months of abuses that were reported to police, including an incident where he cut the power to her home and left her immobile in a powered recliner. So Florida police, they were dispatched to a residence. This is in Cape Coral, Florida, at around 1:25 p.m. on September 16th after a person called 911, and they reported that they discovered their mother's body inside of their home. So the caller said that family members were unable to reach the woman for, a amount of time that made them very concerned that something was wrong. So they drove out to her house and they find bloody footprints. Those bloody footprints led them to the body of 69-year-old Rosemary Johnson. The victim reportedly had a significant number of stab wounds to both her neck and her head. Investigators learned that witnesses observed the victim's son, a 28-year-old by the name of Devin Johnson, leaving his mother's home. He was in a gray Toyota Corolla not long before police arrived. The vehicle was located a short time later, and authorities conducted a traffic stop, at which point Johnson began a chase that ended with his vehicle being disabled by stop sticks. Kelly, tell them what stop sticks are.
Sure. So when somebody won't slow down or won't quit, one of the easiest ways to get them to slow down is to immobilize the tires. And so they can throw that out in front of the vehicle and then...
And interestingly enough, one of the most dangerous things you can do as a police officer, because you have to time it just right. And a lot of police officers get hit by the cars when they're doing stop sticks.
Yeah, and then you have to remove them quickly.
Before another car drives over them.
Yeah, and cause another wreck.
That's right.
Or a wreck.
So Johnson attempted to flee on foot, but he was quickly apprehended. Upon examining the suspect's car, police found blood outside and inside the vehicle, as well as on Johnson's shoes. Now, while being arrested, Johnson hit the K-9 unit multiple times and attempted to steal an officer's firearm. He was not going to go away peacefully. Now, family members told police that Johnson had a history of abuse against the victim, many incidents of which were reported. Court documents detailed two major incidents in January and March of 2025 that resulted in Rosemary filing a petition for injunction for protection against domestic violence. This is against her own son. On March 12th, he grabbed my arms and held my arms down and bruised my arms and wrists and spit in my face over trying to take my phone since he doesn't have one, Rosemary wrote in the petition. Absolutely disgusting. Furthermore, the document said that Johnson suffered from an unspecified mental illness. Oh, they all do when this shit goes down. That Rosemary identified as schizophrenia, making him unable to work. He doesn't have an income. He's unable to work because of his mental health, she wrote. Devin lives with me, but now I am staying at my daughter's because I don't feel safe around him. Rosemary wrote that she pressed charges against him after he hit her with a closed fist on the head, resulting in him spending a month in jail. In the same incident, Johnson allegedly left his mother immobile and stranded in a recliner after cutting power to the house. Rosemary Johnson stated that her son, Devin Johnson, who lives with her, hit her on top of the head, took her mobility walker and threw it across the room and then proceeded to remove her cell phone from her hand and smashed it multiple times on the floor. Johnson allegedly pulled the walker further away before entering the garage and cutting the power from the electrical panel. This caused the victim to not be able to get out of her power recliner in her living room. Johnson took the car keys, a pile of clothing, a fishing rod, and a spear gun before leaving the residence in a vehicle. Rosemary was only saved when she managed to crawl to a laundry basket to get her walker, then walked outside and asked neighbors for help.
Wow. Bless her heart. This sounds like a very personal. I'll start with this. If you're going to stab someone about the head and the neck, that's extremely personal whenever you are in that area. And then stabbing is personal too. So he has a sister, obviously, and Rosemary had a daughter. Bless her heart. You know, your brother kills your mom. Talk about screw up the family dynamic in so many ways. But, you know, this is the thing about schizophrenia that in this instance that irritates me is that people with schizophrenia, and I even looked this up to validate that I was correct. I got it from healthline.com, but 85 to 95% of people with schizophrenia are not violent. Only like pop culture and movies and things make it seem like schizophrenics are always violent or scary or something like that. And that's just not the case. And we have to live in reality. So that sounds like an excuse to me. It really does. And then the level of violence that he used is not of the norm. You know, maybe you might have a personality or something that is a more dark personality if you're schizophrenic. But to stab your mom with a history of violence like this, I'm not buying it.
Well, in my opinion, you know, he could have been one of the 15%. There's still 15% out there that do resort to violence that are schizophrenic. It's possible he could have been one of those 15. Still doesn't excuse it. That's my thing. This was a ticking time bomb. It wasn't like this was totally out of character for this guy. Just went through hell. She was seeking orders of protection against this kid already.
Right. I mean, they can have acute psychosis, right? Where it's just in that moment or in that time frame, something has set them off. But it sounds to me, and this is one of the things about mental health that's interesting in this, in terms of crime, is resources have got to be available to family members. And it's got to be more than a protective order. That's a piece of paper. That protective order just is so the police can do something in the event he acts out again. But in this case, there's not going to be another again. He killed her.
Right.
And so finances and I don't want to, go into all that, but this is a hard thing to deal with. Very hard to deal with. What do? You love your son, but in the same instance, he killed her. And it's too late now.
Right.
The police reports are irrelevant.
Right.
So, but I mean, there's people with schizophrenia that are not.
There are. They're both sides of that spectrum.
Yeah,
we don't know what side obviously he was violent.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
what stood out to
clear.
me, and I know you might think I'm crazy for this, but whenever he stole, he got violent, and then he took, what was it, a spear gun and fishing poles or something, whatever you said he took. I'm wondering. I know you're reaching, but dude. I'm wondering what he was going to do with those, because my mind immediately went, he's going to pawn that for drugs. And I don't know why, but why would someone who doesn't have a job, I'm assuming doesn't have a car or anything, he didn't even have a cell phone because he was trying to take hers in the other report. Why would he take those things? Well, you could go get money with them or something. It just makes you wonder what other things were going on in the home that they're just blaming schizophrenia is what I'm trying to say. It sounds like, and it sounds to me like there's more to it than this. All right, let's go to New Mexico, where a man is behind bars and 2 people are dead after an argument over products at an auto parts store turned violent. Ismail Tina, 27, stands accused of 2 counts of open murder, which I've never heard of open murder. Have you?
Yes.
Open murder?
Yeah.
Open murder in the first degree.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. All right.
Some states have something called open murder where it's basically done in public. It wasn't, you didn't murder someone like in their bed at night and no one saw it.
I guess it's an aggravating factor because it was.
Yeah.
I got you. All right.
There was no attempt to hide it.
I got you. Okay. That's just bizarre. I've just never heard it called that. And you'd think I would have. Anyway, all right. The incident occurred at an O'Reilly Auto Parts in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The defendant and his father had traveled to deal with the vehicle's oil filter and ultimately changed out the device. But the visit ended with 2 men dead. Tina and his dad went to the business to exchange their oil filter. Tina's father said they also requested 2 additional bottles of oil because the original 2 had been wasted since the first filter was incorrect. An argument ensued with staff. Tina, who was upset, allegedly grabbed the oil he wanted and left, but 2 store employees were not having it. Richard Newman, 47, and Jesus Valdez, 18, followed Tina outside and confronted him. Tina allegedly grabbed a gun and shot both men. Newman died at the scene. Valdez succumbed to his injuries while being rushed to a nearby hospital. The defendant then called 911, saying he shot the men because they were shoving and punching him, and he was scared for his life. Law enforcement officials, however, say they were unable to find any evidence the store employees had become physical with the defendant. No markings on the defendant were consistent with an attack, and there were no weapons found that were attributed to the slain men. The defendant was arrested after deputies pulled over his truck roughly 2 miles due east of the O'Reillys, and Tina is currently detained at the Metropolitan Detention Center without bond.
You know, if I could sit down and write a list of things I've heard while doing this show, that, wow, that was a spur of the moment, really bad decision that ended up costing someone their lives, it would fill up a whole episode. Mm-hmm. This is one of those things. Literally, you just covered a story where someone killed someone over a freaking oil filter. Killed 2 people over an oil filter.
Oil filter.
I don't know what has happened to the respect for life that you will just flat out shoot someone and kill them over an oil filter, but this moron just ruined his entire life and cost the lives of 2 others.
And one was
over a freaking split-second decision here. That's it. A split-second decision. You could have walked in your car and left and bought a $15 filter somewhere else.
Yeah, and they call corporate and complain, and they send you a coupon for a free bottle of oil or something. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's absolutely, you know, it goes without saying, it's absolutely crazy. But this seems to be happening a lot with these just split second, no planning, just you pissed me off and I'm going to kill you attitudes that it seems like people have.
I just, was
more
raised,
frequently these
and I know
days.
we're all raised different. I acknowledge that, but I was just raised with such an immense amount of respect for a firearm, and that even hunting, my dad, when we go hunt, everything, you do this because of this, you do that. You don't kill an animal unless it's a threat, to your life or something, or you're going to eat it and process it. We don't take from the earth for no reason, blah, blah. I was just raised that way. Mm-hmm. My dad spent so much time teaching me when we were fishing about why certain fish, if they don't meet the length requirement, that's why you release the fish, because we want to make sure that we can. And I know these are people, not animals, but my point is that animals are not as valuable. Oh God, people will come after me. But a human life is very important. Yeah. And I was taught to have so much respect even for non-human life and just in general. And then you're just going to get so angry, and you are so thin-skinned. You are so thin-skinned that you would go pull a gun and kill an 18-year-old boy and a 47-year-old man just doing their jobs. And I'll tell you, Jim, you didn't know this. Jim picked this article for me, but this gave me a flashback from a few years ago, because I taught a student who was very, very sick. And so I kind of got close with him because he was medically ill, not like mentally ill. He was medically ill. And he was just having a really rough time. And one day I was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" Blah, blah. And he's like, I'm not having a good time. Do you know that his father was murdered at an O'Reilly Auto Parts store? He worked there. Mm. And it was right there on Airline.
A robbery or something?
Mm-hmm, right there on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge. His dad worked at O'Reilly's, and guy came in and murdered his dad, who worked at an auto parts store. It's the same thing. It's just, who does this?
Yeah. Horrible situation. Yep. There's no doubt about it. Let's go to Texas. And I debated, I do want to say I debated doing this story, because I'm going to be honest. We got a lot of ridiculous ass hate on talking about Charlie Kirk. And so, because I guess the flame was so hot and high at the time, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't cover this. And then I'm like, fuck that. I'm covering it because it's bullshit. And I'm going to cover it. And it has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with human life. And as a matter of fact, the human lives lost in what I'm about to cover are people who were not legal citizens of the United States. So I want everybody to know that up front. A 29-year-old Texas man opened fire on an immigrations and customs enforcement facility in Dallas that just happened Wednesday. The second instance in 2 weeks of a gunman setting up with a rifle on a rooftop, opening fire and communicating a message through writing on bullets. Now, authorities identified the shooter as Joshua Jan. He was found dead with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Vice President J.D. Vance said evidence is not yet public or said evidence that is not yet public indicates the shooter was politically motivated to go after law enforcement and people enforcing the border. Vance called Jan a violent left-wing extremist. Authorities have yet to release an official motive. The FBI special agent in charge in Dallas, Joe Rothrock, said the attack was a targeted violent attack. 3 detainees in a van in the facility's Sally Port were shot. No ICE officers were hurt in the shooting. Dallas police said this at a news conference. 1 person was killed, 2 others in critical condition. A bullet found near the shooter had the words, quote, anti-ICE written on it, according to the FBI. Other recent shooters, including those who assassinated Charlie Kirk and killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, have also engraved messages on bullets. The anti-ICE messages surprised Josh Jan's brother, Noah Jan. He said that his brother did not have strong feelings about ICE as far as he knew. Noah Jan said that of his brother when he was interviewed about it. DHS officials said he fired at the ICE building indiscriminately. Public records show that Josh Jan registered as an independent in Oklahoma's last vote in November. In 2016, he was charged in Texas with delivering marijuana in an amount greater than a quarter ounce but less than 5 pounds. He pled guilty to that felony charge. And his brother described him as unique, but said he was not one who he ever thought would be involved in a politically motivated shooting. I didn't think he was politically interested. He wasn't interested in politics on either side, as his brother remembered. But I'm not going to go through the rest of this, but just a horrible, obviously horrible situation in which these guys were killed. And
so these poor people were detainees.
He was
mad at ICE and shot detainees. Yeah. I know it was random, but
well, it was random, and they were in a van. He didn't know who was in the van.
But that's the point.
So
you're just so angry that you would go you would just go shoot willy nilly. Did it not occur to you you might kill the very people that you're trying to make a statement, for? I guess that you don't want them to be detained.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I think the bigger picture here too is you're seeing a lot of copycats with these writing on bullets.
Yeah. And then kill yourself. What a coward.
Yeah. Horrible situation. And, less than 2 weeks after the Charlie Kirk shooting and killing. And I do want to say, if that would have been Jimmy Kimmel that happened to, I would have been just as pissed off, just as upset. I would have done the same. I would have covered that just the same as I did Charlie Kirk. Yeah. I think it's ridiculous. I don't give a shit whose side it's from.
It's almost like
I want y'all to know that.
I'm getting frustrated.
It's horrible
not
both
about,
ways.
I don't care about, we're trying to come to a conclusion in this country of what we need to do, and it's going to be ongoing. But it seems like it's just mean versus like evil versus the rest of us. It really does. Like, if you align yourself with whatever party, I don't care who you are, if you think it is appropriate to go shoot and murder people to get your point across, you're dead wrong.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you are. Mm-hmm. I don't care how this guy even affiliated. Like, if you wouldn't have told me anything, I don't, because I don't care. You're a murderer. That's all you are to me. Right. In that moment. And then you kill these innocent, these people didn't do anything to deserve being murdered. that's just, it's not where we need to be. And I think that the majority of us, regardless of what color, regardless of what ethnicity, regardless of your politics, I think majority of us are decent people. We're letting these nuts on either end make us crazy with each other.
Yeah, it's definitely the, in a room of 100, you've got two loud ones. It's kind of like on Facebook, sometimes the negative ones are the ones who are the loudest. And it seems like everybody in the room is loud. Mm-hmm. And then you do the math and you say, wait a minute, we've got, 10, 15,000 listeners and 4 are bitching about this.
Yeah.
So then that puts it into perspective of they're just the loudest. The people that agree and that hear you and feel what you're saying, they don't typically comment because they agree. There's, unless it's to say great episode.
Yeah.
But the ones that just hate you for thinking it's wrong for anybody to get shot and killed like that, they're going to be loud about it. And they're going to let everybody know that they hate you.
Well,
just fuels me.
In the words of the late Toby Keith.
That's like gas in the tank.
Hate me if you want to, love me if you can. All right.
Never heard those words from Toby Keith.
It's a song.
Really?
Hate me if you want to, love me if you can.
Never heard that song.
My cover album drops on. No, just kidding. All right, let's go to
Nashville's going to come calling.
They're going to be like, ma'am, we need you to shut your mouth. All right, I don't even actually know where we're going to. Las Vegas?
Well, you're going to the friendly skies, man.
Yeah. All right. An unruly passenger on board an American Airlines flight bound for Las Vegas was tied to her seat using duct tape after allegedly assaulting a flight attendant and threatening multiple members of the cabin crew. Ketty, Ketty. You ever heard that name?
No.
Ketty. But my nephew and
I like it though.
I know when my nephew was little, he called me Aunt Ketty instead of Ketty. Instead of Kelly. Hello, that's my name. All right. Ketty Dylone was arrested on Tuesday for her behavior during the flight and is now facing charges of assault by striking, beating, or wounding members of the flight crew. On the flight from Charlotte to Las Vegas, Dylone was walking down the aisle and yelling, and a statement read. She allegedly started to verbally threaten multiple flight attendants. They added, due to Dylone's disruptive and threatening behavior, she had to be restrained in her seat with zip ties and duct tape. She allegedly kicked a flight attendant, causing the flight attendant to fall. They continued. Duct tape was placed around her legs and her torso, and she was taken into custody when the flight touched down at Las Vegas Harry Reid International Airport. And if convicted, she could face up to 20 years in prison.
That's in that story you just read. I watch a lot of YouTube videos because, look, everybody's got a cell phone now.
Yep.
And so, first of all, you got to be a blooming idiot to do anything on a flight because guaranteed one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to turn that bitch around and everybody on that flight is going to want to beat your ass. Because if I'm heading,
that happened last episode.
If I'm heading back to Louisiana and I'm in Atlanta on a layover and you got to act a fool and they turn that bitch around and go back to Atlanta, I'm going to be the one pissed. I'm going to want to catch you in a hallway. I mean, that's crazy enough, but you're going to be in trouble. Even if they don't turn that plane around, when they land, guaranteed before anybody disembarks that flight, police are going to come on that plane. They're going to say, you're coming with us. You just ruined wherever you were going. You just ruined the rest of your day, man.
Yeah. And
so I think I've been on a flight before where someone was very drunk, and I mean, and it was female. Now, she wasn't drunk, belligerent drunk. She was drunk, like funny drunk.
Yeah.
But aggravating drunk after you're in the air for 20 minutes and she keeps like, doing all the drunk stuff. And I often wondered, airport bars, I often wonder why they exist because it's probably not a good idea for people to be drunk on a plane. And I know some of you out there are like, I've been smashed on a plane. Not me, man. I get air sick enough I don't get air sick, but I get a little woozy on a plane.
I'm scared of flying. I hate it.
Yeah. Well, I've never had an incident like what you just described, but I can imagine if someone, after 9/11, if someone stands up on a flight and even acts like they're going to act a fool, I'm springing into action. Yeah. They ain't going to need duct tape. I'm going to wrap my whole body around them and say, you and I are sitting here until we land.
I'll choke you out, bitch.
Period. So, you got to be careful doing that. Ever since 9/11, you got to be careful acting a fool on a plane because people don't play that no more.
Right.
And
and some people, I'm not saying it in this instance too, but some people in these YouTube videos, I watch them too, just because you can't believe how people behave. But it's almost sometimes, okay, so right now there's like the epidemic in the country where people are trying to entice law enforcement into a physical altercation so that then they can turn around and sue and get money because they know that law enforcement agencies tend to settle if it's whatever. Sometimes I wonder if these are some of those types of incidences where they're the wrong. I mean, the woman's wrong. But if they're trying to provoke and do all this because then they can claim that they were, assaulted or whatever. And
I mean, who knows?
I don't know. But you're an idiot either way. And I'm glad that they duct taped you. And shout out to Duct Tape because y'all make the most badass tape, bro. You can fix something in your house or you can tie up a unruly woman.
Right. There you go. Or a really woman for some of those freaks out there.
That's true.
All right. Let me ask you this. What's your favorite Gary Busey movie?
Okay, I'm about
you don't know who he is?
No, I know exactly who he is.
Okay.
But I've became a fan after he started just being crazy on TV with his interviews and stuff. Yeah. I don't think I can name a movie.
Went nuts.
He was big though. I was born in '84. I think he was more of a bigger actor in the '80s, right?
Yeah, he did one very big movie in the '90s that a lot of people forget he was in, but it was a huge hit.
What?
Point Break.
Oh, yeah.
With Patrick Swayze, the bank robbery. That he was the detective in that movie.
Yep.
Predator 2, which would have been an 80s movie, he was also in. But he was well renowned for the Buddy Holly story. He played, and this was when he was normal, and he played that role perfectly, won an Oscar for it. And he went downhill, man, ever since that Oscar. Well, he's really went downhill now, Gary Busey, and he's been, like you said, you've seen clips of him. He's gone nuts over the years.
Is it drugs or is it mental or do we know? Like what's going on?
I think it's everything, all the above. Yeah. I mean, this guy
Hollywood,
is
man.
Off his rocker, bro. Yeah, so Gary Busey has been sentenced to probation nearly 2 months after pleading guilty to 4th-degree criminal sexual assault. The actor, who is 81, I didn't realize he was 81, was sentenced to 2 years probation during a virtual court appearance. This was on Thursday, September 18th. The charges stem from an incident that took place at a 2022 horror convention, not to be confused with horror conviction.
Oh, horror.
Yeah, because I knew you thought I said that. I don't know. They don't have those kind of conventions, Kelly. In New Jersey, Mr. Busey is pleased that the case has been resolved and that he can go on with his life. That from his lawyer. Busey did not speak during the hearing. The actor's sentence comes after his attorney requested that he receive a fine after he pleaded guilty to a charge in July, citing health problems, including early dementia and mobility issues. Yeah. And look, I've dealt with some dementia things and on some family stuff, and it will kind of make you go. But he's been going crazy for years.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the dementia in this case. Superior Court Judge Gwendolyn Blue cited Busey's prior charges, including his probation in 2007 for trespass and disorderly conduct, and in 2021 for a hit and run, and as a reason for his probationary sentence. The charges stem from Busey's 2022 appearance at Monster Mania, during which 3 women reported the actor touched them inappropriately during an autograph signing meet and greet. That'd be your luck.
That would be.
Mr. Busey felt me up.
He grabbed my boob. Busey, release my boobie.
And we're not poking fun at it.
No, it's terrible.
Following the incident, Busey was arrested at a hotel in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and was accused of touching the clothed buttocks of at least 2 female fans during a photo shoot. A probable cause statement obtained by the outlet also alleged that Busey put his face near a woman's breast and asked her where she got them.
Oh my God.
Before attempting to unlatch her bra strap.
Okay, dude, you're yeah.
I mean, smack to the face on that, right?
I was wondering if these were like accidental bumps, but obviously not.
The actor initially denied any wrongdoing, telling TMZ in 2022, None of that happened.
Sure.
It was a partner, a camera lady, and me and two girls, and it took less than 10 seconds and they left. They made up the whole story that I assaulted them sexually. I did not. Nothing happened. It's all false. He later admitted to the incident, pleading guilty earlier this year on July 31st. According to the Times, Busey had a maximum sentence of 5 years probation and $500 fine he was facing, but he did end up with probation. He also faces a civil suit from two women in New York who are seeking damages as a result of the Monster Mania encounter. The actor was nominated for an Oscar for his portrayal of Buddy Holly. And I'll tell you another movie that he did that I just thought about was he did one not many people watch, but Corey Haim was in it. Corey Haim was actually the star of that movie. Gary Busey played a supporting role, and it was called Silver Bullet. And I watched that, I don't know how many times. It was about a werewolf.
That's 19.
Corey Haim was a werewolf.
Yeah, 1985.
Corey Haim was in a wheelchair, and a werewolf was chasing him. It's a good movie. Go check it out if you're an 80s fan. Somebody out there surely is going to comment and say, hey, I loved Silver Bullet. But there you go. Gary Busey, no jail time, but keep your hands off women's asses.
Just stay away from the ladies, Gary. You can't control yourself.
Yeah, you're 81, Gary.
Calm down.
Gary, you're 81.
If you know Gary, please let him know he's 81. All right. Now, Travis Decker, we covered this one a while back. And so he was the guy that was wanted in the kidnappings and murders of his own 3 daughters. And he now has been confirmed as dead. Hey everyone, Crime Wire Weekly has moved to its own new channel.
We hope you've enjoyed this preview. To continue listening, please follow the link referenced in the description of this podcast.
Or simply search Crime Wire Weekly wherever you're listening.
And don't forget to follow the show so you can be alerted when new episodes drop.
Thanks for listening.